Hello and welcome to Hyperdog Digital. This is Scott. Today we're going to take a look at the Lenovo Ideapad Miix 520. And this is the box that it came in right here. I have already unpacked it though, so we don't need to look at the box any longer. Let's look at the device itself. And here it is. So you can see this is very typical of your Surface type devices. It is an actual 2-in-1, so it's a tablet, but also hooks up to the keyboard, much like some of those other devices. The keyboard can pop up like that, close. So you can use it as a laptop, or you can use it as a tablet. It does have the little flap that you can pop out here, and that's basically it. Let's take a look at some of the specifics on this guy here. Of course, the first thing off is the keyboard, and this is magnetically attached, so you can drop it down if you want to. If you like it flat, you can pop it up. If you like a little bit of a slant there, or an angle to your keyboard, and of course you can pop it all the way off. And it's full size, pretty standard keyboard, trackpad. It actually feels very nice. I actually like typing on it a lot. It's a lot better than some of the early keyboards of this type, where it was all rubber and not really a lot of tactile feedback. But I did like using this one quite a bit. Here's the tablet itself. It's got a very nice large screen on it. You got a camera on the front, of course. You have the hinge on the back right here, and this is the patented, well, patented, I'm not sure, but it is the watch band hinge that Lenovo likes to put on a lot of their devices, and I really do like the look of that a lot. It's certainly a lot cooler than your standard hinges. On the back here, you also do have a micro SD card slot, so you can expand the memory that way. You have a camera on the back here, and you have speakers on each side. And over here you have power. I'm sorry, no, that's the headphone jack. Your volume up and down, and then your power on/off button. On this side, there's your power. You have a standard USB port and a USB Type-C as well. And that is basically the device itself. You have a few vents up here for when it starts to really do some processing and kick some stuff out there. Now, there was a few other accessories that this did come with. Of course, it comes with just your standard charger. I'm not going to show that because it's pretty standard. But you got a little carrying pouch that this came with, so you can slide this guy right in there. It's just a cloth pouch. It's not really going to afford you much protection outside of just an occasional brush up against the screen or something like that. Now, it did also come with this little guy here, which goes along with the Lenovo Active Pen. This is pretty cool. A lot of these things come with some kind of pen of some sort. This is a pretty nice little pen. Of course, this is a little holder for it that just slide it in here. And this actually goes right into the USB port over here. Now, that's pretty neat. It's kind of a good use of the port and the holder, so if you need that, you can put it on there. At the same time, it does use your only full-size USB port, so if you were having your pen in there, you'd have to pull this out if you wanted to use it for anything else. Also, if you do have the power plugged in, then you're not going to be able to put your pen in here either, because it blocks it pretty significantly. So, I guess it works. I'm not a huge fan of it, but to each their own. You got a camera in front, of course, as well. I'm not sure if I mentioned that yet, so throw that out there. But that's it. That's basically the device as it comes out of the box. Now, the one thing that I did like about this, it does have an aluminum alloy cover on it, and it is extremely light. I was really surprised at how light it felt. And when I was using this, I could actually hold it for quite a long time as a tablet, and it didn't seem to get that heavy to me. Now, I've used the Surface and other similar type devices, and they all seem a little bit heavier than this, and I haven't gone down and looked at the specs to see. Maybe some of the newer ones that I haven't had a chance to see yet are a little bit lighter. But this guy definitely very light, very easy to hold for an extended period of time. So that was especially impressive to me with using this device here. All right, now before we start talking about performance, let's talk about what this device actually has in it. So this is going to have an Intel 8th generation i5 Kaby Lake R processor in it, and what that means that this is the first, and I'm reading this off of the site here. This is the first set of 15-watt processors that are powered by 4 cores. It will allow for more processing power per watt, and in some cases improvements in performances by 40%. I didn't have any problems running moderate games on here. You can see Minecraft is on here. Asphalt 8 ran very good. Didn't have any problems. Very smooth. We'll go through some more of the specs on this, but this is not a gaming machine by any sense of imagination. The video card on here just isn't really going to pump out the high graphics or high performance games that you might be looking for. So right off, if you're looking for a gaming machine, you're probably going to want to look a little bit elsewhere for something with a little more power on it. But it did run very well. Now, running Asphalt 8, I played that game for a good hour, and it did heat up pretty well on the back here. And these fans here kicked in and was kicking out a lot of heat. But it ran. I didn't have any problems. It didn't die on me or anything like that, or didn't start lagging out or anything. It played very well. So let's go ahead and just take a look at some more of the specs on this guy, just so we can run through them all. Again, I mentioned it's the Intel Core i5 8th generation processor, the Kaby Lake R processors. This particular one has an Intel high definition 620 card in it for graphics. So again, you're not going to be doing any kind of major gaming on this guy, but it can certainly hold its own for some of the mid-tier and kind of low high performance type games. It has 8 gig of memory in it, Windows 10 Home 64-bit, 12.2 inch touchscreen. Okay, that's how big the screen is. 256 gig solid state drive, and it does boot up very quickly and does move around very fast. It's an Intel dual band wireless LAN card and Bluetooth. There's Dolby audio speakers on it, so nothing too spectacular there, but it does sound very good. Again, if you're looking for higher performance type gaming machine, you're going to want to look a little bit elsewhere, something a little bit higher powered and a little bit more bells and whistles. It has a battery life of 7.5 hours. When I played Asphalt 8, I pretty much drained that battery pretty quick. It was easily just a couple hours, just straight playing that game nonstop, that it killed the battery on it. But like I said, it was heating up pretty good, so it was working pretty hard. But if you're just browsing around, then yeah, you could easily make 7 hours on it. The camera is a 720p camera, and it doesn't really specify whether that's front or back, so I'm guessing that's going to be both. And the weight on this, it says it's about 2.65 pounds with the keyboard, and just under 2 pounds without the keyboard. And again, it's really light. I had no problems holding onto this and using it as a tablet. for over an hour at least. It didn't really even feel like I was holding a tablet. Even some of the other straight tablets, some of the Samsung devices felt heavier than this guy did. I was really impressed with the weight for this device. All right, so let's take a look at the big accessory for this guy. Well, I'm not sure. It's kind of a small accessory, I suppose, but it's a very interesting one. This is the Lenovo Active Pen, and as you can see, you got a button right here on the top, which is really supposed to activate it, turn it on. And when you do click on that, you can see right here, it automatically opens up Windows Ink Workspace, so you can dive in here and use the keyboard or use the pen for taking notes or whatever. But you can do one click, and then double click will bring up just the screen itself. There you go, so you can draw on the screen like this. And the neat thing about all these pens nowadays is that you can kind of go a little bit harder on it and you get a little bit thicker line, or you can do real light and have a real thin line. Of course, this guy does the same as a lot of those. A lot of different tools. I'm not a huge graphic artist type guy, so I don't use these pens very often. But it was neat to use it. It was very accurate. It's very easy to write on these guys. If you're going to take notes or anything like that. I didn't have any problems with my palm being on here or anything like that. It seemed to work pretty well. You also have two buttons here, which will serve as like a right click or a regular click, depending on how you want to set it up. And when you go into the settings for this, there are a lot of different options that you can set as far as what happens when you actually click it. Click this button on the top, and we can go in here real quick and just take a look at some of these. So there's a lot of different pen shortcuts that you can set up, so you can decide what you want to do when you click it once or click it twice, and what the other buttons actually do for you. So it's pretty versatile. I had a lot of fun using it. Again, I'm not a graphic artist, so I can't do a lot of drawings or anything that would really be impressive to show anybody at this point. But using it was very easy. Setting it up was super easy. It worked very well. I mean, that's just the bottom line with it. So if you're looking for something that has one of these pens on it, if you're a graphic artist or just like drawing or taking notes with these tablets, definitely something for you to check out. The keyboard itself, we've already talked about this a little bit, but just to touch on it again since we're talking about the accessories, I like this keyboard a lot. It's just, pretty standard full-size keyboard. Large backspace key, which is important to me. You got your arrow keys over here as well. There's not a number keypad or anything like that. But it works very well. It is backlit, so that's a plus as well. And just like with any of the other type devices, once you pop it on here, you can lay it flat, or you can pop it up so that it's on the edge a little bit there and at a bit of an angle for you. So hopefully that's pretty helpful there for you. Now the other thing that I want to talk about is that this has some special microphones on here. It is 4 far-field microphones that is supposed to work along Cortana voice assistant on this. Now, I didn't really use that much on here. I'm not quite to the point of really needing to use an assistant on my workstation or my computer or anything like that. I did test it out a little bit, and it says it will work. Excuse me, it will work from up to 4 meters, and it did seem to work from that far back. So if that is something that is important to you, you do have that as well included in this device. Okay, so there we go. I mean, that is the Lenovo Ideapad Miix 520. Again, I really liked this device. It's not a gaming machine, so if you are looking for something like that, you're probably going to want to step up to something with a little bit more power to it. But I do think it is a step up from the previous models. You know, you got the SD card that's on here. It's again, I can't talk about how light it is and how easy it was and comfortable it was to use. That is definitely the top thing for this for me. With most of these 2-in-1s, I really don't see much of a use of the tablet mode, because really they're just too heavy to use for very long. These guys, this guy was great. It was very light, and I was able to use it for an extended amount of time, and I wanted to charge it and get it back in my hands because it was that easy to use. The pen is pretty cool to use, but again, it's really going to be most useful for somebody who's into graphic design or likes to do drawing or anything like that, or taking a lot of notes. So definitely, if you're looking for something like that, this is something to check out as well. Performance-wise, it worked great for what it's designed for the games that you know, you're normally going to run on something like this. It did heat up a little bit on some of the games that I played, but nothing too terrible. And even when it did heat up, the performance didn't drop. It still played very well. The one thing I will talk about this that I wasn't a big fan of is this holder and the pen itself. I'm not a big fan of carrying little pieces around with me. You have the sleeve, and on the sleeve itself, you actually have a little spot for putting the pen on here. But this just begs to slip out or get caught on somebody as you're walking by and tear or break. And this guy here, you know, is something that's just going to get lost in your bag if you're putting it in your bag, or you know, there's really no way to put it in the sleeve. Same thing with the pen. If you don't like it putting out here, you can't really put it in here. There's no real safe spot to put it. So if you're going to be putting it in a bigger bag, it's going to get lost somewhere, or just be awkward. I wish there was, like with the Samsung devices, it slides into the side somewhere, and that's where you hold your pens. That's really the biggest negative that I got with this guy, and that's really just an annoyance from me. That may not be something that most people probably aren't going to care about, and really isn't that big a deal when you think about it. But for me, it's a little annoying, and I always lose that kind of stuff, or I break it or something like that. So that's really about it. Again, really great device. Had a lot of fun with it. Worked very well. Very light. Very easy to use. I hope this video has been helpful for you, and I do apologize for my voice. I do have a cold, so hopefully that wasn't too annoying for you as well. If it was helpful for you, please give us a thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe to our channel. I hope to see you again next time. Hopefully I'll be sounding a little better. Thanks for joining us at Hyperdog Digital.